Okay, we are live. Let me get in on all the pages, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, everybody. 1 second, y'all. Let me get I don't know what buttons I'm pushing. Okay. Share it out the group into our chat. Gotta turn my TV down. Okay. I'm putting it in a group now, Jamal. Okay, let me make sure. Putting it in all our groups now, inshallah. I think that's all of them. Should be. Yep, that's all of them. I thought I put in this, trying to put in the Cincinnati Muslims group. I didn't see it. They should see it on my page. Okay, whatever. All right. Click it on. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Okay, we hot. We are hot. Okay, inshallah. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلله فلا هادي له ونشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له ونشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله أما بعد. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, everybody. Hey, Sidi Nasir, how you going, brother? Another Maliki brother. The Malikis is in here tonight, y'all. We got a very, 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 very special guest tonight. Hopefully, inshallah ta'ala, he won't be a guest. He'll be, a regular occurring event, inshallah. Shaykh Mujaahid Abdul-Karim from the West Coast. West Coast, right?
West Coast.
Yeah, from the West Coast. So I'm from the West Side. He's from the West Coast. Alhamdulillah. We got a live question and answer. Alhamdulillah. Alameen. Hey, Christopher Joseph, what's going on? Shafi Younger. Inshallah, we're going to have him on the show soon. Well, yeah, we got a live question and answer. Alhamdulillah, we are blessed, very blessed to be with one of our beloved shuyukh. I'm gonna let the brother introduce himself. He kind of needs no introduction. If you are in the world of ilm, the world of knowledge, the world of study, you would definitely have heard his name. That's it. That is if you are belong to Abu Sulaiman Jamal. That is. Y'all know I got to throw my one shot. I gotta have one shot at every show. One shot. But alhamdulillah. Inshallah, I'm gonna let y'all blaze. If the brothers will please permit me, I would like to put the first question. I have a question I've been holding on to for a long while. It's really relevant for me, and it is relevant for the people, most definitely. Everybody, please understand and know we have gone over as much as we possibly could on this platform the etiquettes. Please observe your proper adab. We have a trustworthy man of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with us. So please, I know this is the internet and people can say whatever they want to say whenever they want to say it. We know that and we hear you, believe me. But please, Let's respect the Sheikh. Let's respect Ustad Jomo. Please be respectful when you pose your questions. Be appropriate when you pose your questions. How we're gonna do this, inshallah ta'ala, post a comment, post your question in the comment section, inshallah, and I will read through them, and I will, if y'all don't mind, I will read the person who posted the question, and I will read the question, and Ustad Jomo, Ali, and Shaykh Mujaahid will, inshallah, do their best to impart knowledge to us. Alhamdulillah, this is our first guest, Sheikh. I take a lot of pride in trying to connect the people to our ulama. And alhamdulillah, we finally have one of our big alims here with us. Alhamdulillah, Rabbil Alameen. So without further ado, I will allow Sheikh to take over the mic, and inshallah, we're gonna blaze. Bismillah, Sheikh.
Bismillah. Alhamdulillah wa salatu wa salam ala Rasulillah wa ala alihi wa ashabihi ajma'in. Just to start off, before we get into the question and answers, let's talk to Shaykh Mujaahid and ask him to give us a little bit about his bio before we get into the direct questions and answers. Bismillah.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah wa salatu wa salam ala Sayyidina Mursaleen wa ala alihi wa sahbihi takriman kathira. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Quickly a bit about my bio. I'm from Inglewood, California, from the West Coast. And I became Muslim about 1993, 1994. I graduated from Howard University with a master's degree in history. And at that point, I wanted to study Islam. I focused on slavery in Islam in Africa. But at that point, I decided that I needed to really study Islam in order to be a history professor about Islam. So my intention was to go on, take a hiatus from academia and go into traditional studies, which I did. But I never returned to academia. My studies took me to Morocco. Then I moved back to California, where I heard about Sheikh Saleh, who was a sheikh from Italia, who had moved to work with, at the time, with the seminary, Daytona, which is now Daytona College. So I relocated back to California, and I started, when I met him, I started to read something with him, some information from books, and then he sent me to Mauritania, basically. And he, with the help of some good friends, Sheikh Rami Soor, Sheikh Nabil Afifi, they prepared me, and I went on my journey to Mauritania. And it changed my life, really. I really saw the Islamic tradition being lived through the ulama that was there, as well as the students. And I started studying Maliki fiqh and Arabic grammar, Tasawwuf, Aqidah, the various sciences, the various subjects. And upon my return to California, I continued my studies with Sheikh Saleh for about 4 or 5 years. So then I moved to Jeddah in Saudi Arabia, and where I began my studies with Shaykh Abdul-Karim at his house, and he started to teach me to lead. And I was there for about almost 3 years. Then I relocated to UAE, to the United Arab Emirates, where I continued my studies with Shaykh Muhammad Abdul-Karim and his brother Sheikh Dahan Abdul-Karim, who were the two sons of the senior sheikh in the village of Marab al-Hajj in Mauritania. I continued my studies today with some of my teachers, but my goal, or as I was studying, was to bring back to the grassroots community in America some of what I benefited from overseas. And the idea I had was to bring back the same setting, the same type of learning environment, and implant that into the grassroots community here in America. After a long period of time of pondering over, and I finally, finally started the program online. Faith Institute began online about maybe 3 years ago, somewhere around there. I'm not exactly sure what year it was. But we just started teaching students online. And so I developed a curriculum that was based off the methodology of the Menhaj in Mauritania. So my idea was to have the same books that you would study overseas. Those were the texts that we wanted to teach at Faith. And which was, it was centered on the Maliki Madhab, the Ashari Aqidah, and Tasawwuf, which was non-Tariqa based, just the science of Tasawwuf. And I wanted to bring it back really to the African American community, like I said, the grassroots community, and make it where it was something that we could establish as a method by where it could spread and be a foundation for our community, for young people to learn and have exposure to the books that normally they would never have access to bring about books from West African ulama that were either unknown, forgotten about, or hidden. And for example, books by Abdullah Fodio, books by Shaykh Mujaahid Abdul-Karim, books by Al-Hajj Umar Futi, and others. And so I incorporated this type into our curriculum. And so the curriculum is broken down really into three phases: the undergraduate, the elementary, the undergraduate, and the Alamiya, the graduate program. And I tried to to tweak with the curriculum in a way as I began to see the importance of certain texts, certain tools. I took the text out and replaced with another text, and I developed my own personal text and my teachers into more. And so I really started to see the importance of having students develop a legal mind. So we added the program where that hasn't been implemented yet before the future. So we want students to take the where they have the opportunity to go to a JD program, to get a Juris Doctorate program, where they can focus and specialize in secular law, because this is where we live. That's the reality. At the same time, be specialists in Sharia law. So the studies will take them at the advanced level, past the science of fiqh, into qawaid fiqhiyya, into fiqh, into maqam subjects like this, whereby we can establish Islamic law firms. The students can become muftis, qadis, as we establish perhaps Sharia courts in the future. And students become intellectual in the form of the way forward instead of going into the circle that it's in right now. And so it goes down this tradition of the students studying traditional texts. Young people, they will learn how to think Islamically. They will learn the legal mind, learn how to analyze legal text. They will be exposed to advanced legal text. in fiqh, qawaid, usul, and so that we can apply the text, the traditional text, to the context here in America that will work toward the solution for our problems that we deal with on a daily basis. And so that's really the premise behind my and all this institute. And so my studies has taken me here now in Atlanta, and this is where I hope to establish the institute. Inshallah.
Alhamdulillah. It was a little chopped up at the end. Can you get a maybe the Sheikh move a little closer? Because it was chopped up and breaking up just a little bit.
Okay, I think I know what it is. Hold on one second.
Okay. I'm pretty sure y'all heard that the Sheikh put in a lot of work. And one thing that I really want to highlight from his introduction is that two things. First thing,
Yeah.
he's from the neighborhood, y'all. A lot of our viewers, Sheikh, they're from the neighborhood. We're very connected, with the streets. We're very connected with the community. That is our effort, what we like to do here. And so that's the beautiful thing about tonight is that, we have, quote unquote, one of our own that we can represent and we can support ultimately, who traveled the path of knowledge, higher studying at the higher levels of education. That is the most beautiful thing about tonight. I'm really excited. I've been really excited since I knew that we were going to be in contact with Shaykh Mujaahid. And the second thing is that he chose to come back here, y'all. So take advantage of this time. We don't know when Allah Subhanahu wa Taala is going to call any of us back. And I heard him say in one of his lectures, I think it was from maybe a year or two ago, to stay situated where you are in your in the place where you are studying, and to when you are in the presence of a person of knowledge, to get as much as you possibly can out of that particular person of knowledge. So I want to advise y'all to take as much benefit as you possibly can, especially tonight. Don't be shy. Put the questions. I know a lot of people. I get inboxed a lot of questions. This is the time for y'all to ask y'all's questions. Don't ask me. Ask the Sheikh. What I like to do a lot of times is stuff that I don't know. If I can't give you the answer, then I like to hook y'all up with the individuals who can give you the answers. We go live and we have an individual who can give you the answers live. So put y'all's questions, inshallah ta'ala, in the comment section. So I got a first one. Go ahead, Jamal.
Yeah, I was gonna say if there's no questions in the box, you go ahead and kick it off, inshallah.
Okay. So inshallah, Sheikh. So in regards to our people, African Americans, as everybody knows, we have a very, very unique situation, a position in history. As far as I know, the atrocities that has happened to us. Oh, let me not forget, support your African American scholarship. Support it. Hit the like button, hit the heart button, hit the share button, drop us a comment. Let's control the algorithm. Y'all hear me say this every single video. We share TikTok videos. We share football, basketball, Nike, all this stuff that we're wasting time. If you listen to Sheikh's lectures, he's very big on not wasting time. So this is the type of stuff that should be on your timeline. This stuff right here. So don't be a hater, be a congratulator. Hit the like button, hit the heart button, and hit the share button so that we can control our own algorithms. None of us ain't getting paid. We all actually are donating money to the people. We all got better stuff to do. I just was taking care of some business, and I stopped taking care of some business so that we can have some deen time. So support your people and the scholarship. That's what we're doing here. We're trying to put a light on the fact that our people, we do have people of scholarship. So support this. Share it with your friends. Share it with all your Muslim friends. support, support, support. And we got this one back. So if you African American and you don't hit the share button, I'm gonna think something funny about you. And we got this one back here for us. You heard him say it. He's back here for us. He could still be overseas and just teaching, and making a living over there. He came back by choice for us. So support. Okay, so back into the question. The stuff that happened to us is very unique. It's very, 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 very unique. So we have a obtruse position in this society, as I know you know. My question is, because we suffer from all of the worst statistics. We make the least amount of money. We have the highest incarceration rates. We have the highest murder rates. We have gangs. We have prostitution. This is the abnormal in society as a whole, and especially here. So my question is, is there any indication that we will be judged by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala according to our situation? Because a lot of us, as you know, coming from Inglewood, we might sell drugs and have the gang life and so forth because of our socioeconomic disposition. We don't have the resources and opportunities that a lot of other groups of people in this country have. So that kind of, in my head, and correct me if I'm wrong, that kind of, that's a precursor for all of the stuff that goes on, the atrocities that go on in our community. So is there any indication that we'll be judged, according to our, I don't want to say socioeconomic status, but you know what I'm trying to say, to where we are, as people?
Right. Okay, yeah. Right, our situation is unique. As grassroots people, our situation is unique. We have problems that are specific to us. We have issues that are specific to us that you don't find anywhere else. Islam has come to, Islam is the solution. It's done properly. It's taught properly. The fact of, as you were saying, the fact of the matter, we've been educated. We've been educated in Islam because the idea, this Western culture,
you're breaking up bad, Shaykh.
People in America.
You're breaking up, Shaykh.
The bounds of Islam, right? And so, as a community, we're looking for solutions to our identity problems, solutions to our mental health problems, and Islam is a solution, but it's not being applied properly because we, like I said, we've been miseducated. That we haven't been exposed to tradition like we should have been exposed to the tradition. And of course, we know the history of a lot of trying to establish our own country and the groups that have come along, such as, we know the groups that are there, the Nation of Islam, to the Moorish Temple, the Black Panthers, and the others. And the fact is that those groups, they did a great job. They made a lot of mistakes, but they did a lot of good to get us to where we are now. But now we have to go into the next phase of our Islamic development, which is education. And we have to focus on rethinking how we live Islam, rethinking how we think about Islam, rethinking how we teach and learn Islam. That can only be by if we're exposed to the proper text that will aid us in order to think Islamically, to solve our mental health issues, all right? To solve our issues of we believe, how we believe it, when we take this as our examples, and learn how to fall in love with the Prophet, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. right? Because if you don't know him, you don't. If you don't know him, you can't love him. And once you know him, you will love him. Sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Which will incur love for Allah. We believe in Allah. We have to learn how to believe in Allah. That will solve the mental health issue that we have. Right? Television commercial for everything. There's commercials for some type of medication. You know, you go to, but it solves the issues. Now, we don't need any medication doctor. The problem is how we think, how we're taught to think. So if we learn how to think Islamically, how to be with Allah, it solves a lot of the issues we have. And it's a process. It's not going to happen overnight. But once you learn these tactics, you learn how to do this, you illuminate yourself. You become illuminated. And you illuminate those around you. And then slowly but surely, inshallah, the environment changes. You change, your family changes. You change your friends, the social company that you keep. Right? You make a hijrah from your bad deeds to the good deeds. You change the bad company for the good company. Right? Those habits you have, we get rid of. We learn to control our nafs. We learn to control the nafs that inclines us toward evil, the nafs that is true. We learn to control these urges we have. Because we turn off the television, we turn off the radio, we turn off these influences, these devices in society that incline us to do and to think in the way we do now. And so, like I said, the miseducation of the Muslim, more specifically, the miseducation of the Black Muslim in America, right? We have to go through what we've gone through. But now it's time for the next phase. We can no longer continue these elementary conversations about does Allah have a hand, about where is Allah. These conversations have been dealt with in the years ago. When you study the books, answer the answer there. You need to argue and to fall into these divisive type of argumentations and conversations that split us apart. It's by education and exposure we would be able to appreciate the differences and opinions that you have in Islam. Islam is like a garden of flowers with beautiful colors, different colors and tastes and smells. Right? You have the Ashari, you have the Maturidis, you have the Hanafi, the Maliki, you have the Shafi'is. Right? You have various types of tafsir, hadith books in all subjects. You have bunches of books on the bookshelf, hundreds of thousands upon thousands of scholars that have different opinions that can rarely all be valid. And to appreciate them, you have to have an education that teaches you how to appreciate them. And without it, you're going to do what we do as a people, as a community, fall into the trap of going around in a circle in these elementary conversations about issues that don't differ at all. Right? I feel it's the part of the aim of people who have studied to teach what they've learned from these traditional texts to solve the problem. Again, Islam can only be a solution if it's taught properly. Otherwise, it's just information that people associate with benefit. It doesn't no good to the anarchies if you don't have the character of Imam Malik. How can you be Shafi and you don't have the character of Imam Shafi? Right? And you don't learn and appreciate the genius of Abu Hanifa. Right? So when you study, you learn the biographies of the scholars, you learn their adab. You learn about their works, the differences of opinions, and you come to appreciate them. And so when we meet each other, we can appreciate our differences that come together on what we have in common, rather than divide ourselves upon issues that and in the end will destroy us. And so this is really the purpose of for us in traditional learning, because our history, it warrants the fact that we have to have the right kind of Islamic education. It's the father, like I said, the father aim on those who have studied and have learned, and that we keep the tradition growing and establish it to our later generations can come up and pass it on. And the doors to which they have to be swung wide open, because issues that are new are on the table today that weren't on the table yesterday. So if you can't deal Islamically with the issues, with the LGBTQ issue, with the Roe versus Wade issue, with the right to bear arms issue, if you can't think Islamically on how to deal with these issues, because all of these issues are in Islam. Every one of these issues is in the book. It's in the Hadith. It's in the Quran. There is no issue today that Islam not. We don't have access to the books. We're not being books. So how can we have access to the information? Right? Our leadership, and Allah bless them, Allah increase them, everything, Islam has been reduced to lectures and slogans, where Muslims have big events, people pay lots of money to hear Shaykh speak, or Shaykh speak, and Shaykh speak about how absolutely nothing. Conversation over and over and over again, and no one teaches the book. If you want to study, for example, if you want to take a this that is it right now. If you wanted to study Jahal, what institution? There's not a university that teaches this. The universities don't teach these books. So getting a PhD in the time of studies is really good. Benefit for you, and there's no benefit for the community. The community we have to be rooted in the Islamic tradition, and this is what Allah wants for us. If we're not rooted, if we don't have the roots in the Islamic tradition, and how to apply the tradition, because there's attacks that aren't applicable to today, that are outdated. The solution is not to rewrite the books, like many academics want to put forward. Right? They leave the old text and say, well, the Mustafa Khalil is old. And Kitab is old. How old is this book? We can use it today. We have new issues, but the reality is they don't know those books. They couldn't rewrite the books if they wanted to, for one. So what we have to do is learn the text and learn how to apply the text. Understand current events, understand what's going on in our society, and where we take the benefit from this text, from this tradition, and apply it. And whatever that's not applicable, or whatever it is that is outdated, leave it. For example, if a man denies black paternity, the woman says he's the father of my child. The man says I'm not the father. But back then, there was a methodology to prove or to show if the man was or was not the father. Today we have DNA testing, so there's no need for biology testing anymore. Right? This chapter is outdated.
Hold on, Sheikh. Sheikh, that last part broke up. Did you say we have to like conversate about the like DNA testing and that stuff. Is that what you were alluded to? Because it broke up, it went all the way out.
What's the question?
What was your last statement? It broke all the way up.
He said that there's no need for Babylon because we have DNA testing now.
Yeah. Okay,
If you have an issue, for example, in other words, if you have an issue, in fact, an issue, whatever the issue may be, and I get the issue of a man who denies paternity, saying he's the father of the child. There was a methodology that was employed by the Fuqaha and the court system that would give the responsibility to the man if he was the father or without the father. Today, that methodology is no longer needed because we have DNA testing. A man could, if you deny paternity, it's solved easily, quickly with DNA testing. So my point was that those issues in the books of fiqh we no longer need. We can leave them alone, right? Issues where the doors of ijtihad open, a front open. And by ijtihad, I mean the ability to think and use a judgment based on from the books, from the tradition, right? To apply them to new issues. This is what we call where you apply the text to the context and the situation you have today, in today's time, right? Because you can apply, if you can apply the right thing at the wrong time or the wrong place, it causes disaster, right? Just because the outer meaning of the text, the issues of the Quran even, that if not understood properly, it can be misapplied. It can cause opportunities. And we've seen this in the past. The hadith that were shoes in and true for those people at that particular time, but situations have changed. And this is the wisdom of the ulama. For example, when Imam Shaykh moved to Egypt, he changed the entire madhab. The entire madhab. You have madhab Qadim and madhab Jadid. You have the new madhab. Because why? Because the situation changed. Different people, different place, different time. This old madhab no longer apply and wouldn't apply to the people in Egypt. So he changed the whole madhab. And so we have to be able to take the books, because issues are permanent, that's just part of life. But the new issues arise on the scene. And so if you don't know how to do them, by using the time that the street is set up, by using the belief system that the time is set up, the methodologies that the ulama have employed have set up to us in Quran, McCarthy, Shia, then either we're going to use Islam improperly and it's going to be a disaster, or we won't use Islam at all and use the methodology of people find to solve our problem, which a lot of what's going on today. Right? It can't be this dual type of right? The two-list, like W.E.B. Du Bois talked about, the two-list of black men, the African, Afro-American. Mm-hmm. You can't be, well, I'm here, but here I live I'm live the secular type of lifestyle. We have to be all in. And Islam has to be able to treat our problems. Grassroots community, right? We have to shun these conversations, shun these lectures, right? Give us this false sense of identity, a false sense of security, that really, at the end of the day, you can sit in these lectures and listen to them all day, and at the end, you're still looking for answers. Well, the answer not in the books. The answer is the tafsir, and the hadith, and the commentary, right? And you know how it's not taught. if people don't take the time out to teach these books, then it's just information. We walking around claiming to be one thing, but in reality, our practice is something different. And this hypocrisy. So it's an obligation upon us that we establish these types of studies. So something that you mentioned earlier can be taught.
Just looking for break. Yeah.
What'd you say, Jomo?
How was the sound?
It's not good. It's not good.
Just give me 1 second. Give me 1 second.
Okay, I'm getting a lot of messages. But to recap, for the most part, I have headphones on, so I can hear the Shaykh, but he was trying to draw on the point that we need to reconnect ourselves or connect ourselves to traditional knowledge and the traditional. He emphasized the traditional books. And he also spoke about how people have gotten away from studying the traditional books, and how can our Islam prosper? How can our Islam prosper? We're gonna bring them back in. They're gonna try to reconnect. We got a bad connection. 1 second. Try to get him to recap, inshallah. But he was basically saying that we have to reconnect ourselves to traditional books, and a lot of the reason for the problems that we have nowadays is because we have divorced ourselves from traditional styles of learning, and traditional books. And he also alluded to the point that we have been stuck in age-old arguments about where is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, na'udhu billah. Does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala have a hand? Y'all know I go on and on and on and on about that stuff. But and you hear a sheikh, you hear an actual sheikh expressing his concern for our obsession with these trivial matters. As far as my question, I'm gonna clarify when they come back on, inshallah ta'ala. I believe he alluded to, he broke up real bad, but I think what I heard, and I'm gonna clarify, was that basically we will only be dealt with according to our knowledge and our ability. So my question was, since African Americans have such an off-put disposition in society, will we be judged on the same footing as the people that don't have an off-putting disposition in society? As you all know, we've dealt with slavery. We've barely survived slavery, Jim Crow, and then now we're in the economic discrimination era of slavery. And so all these things, all these ramifications, all of these, the ills in our society are ramifications of slavery, and all of these evil acts that have been done to us. Everybody, we all know what our reality is. So my question was, people, guy, it's easier for a guy that comes from our community to decide to commit a crime, to sell drugs, to rob. There's no excuse for rape and child molestation and all that. That's just a mental illness. But for the most part, becoming a criminal, hustling, scamming, all of those things. And a lot of times what we are seeing now is that people are becoming Muslim. They said they getting the Wi-Fi situated. What we have now is people, they are becoming Muslim, but we are still challenged with these social ailments. Number one, we already have these bad habits before we come into Islam. We already have these bad habits before we come to Islam. So another part of it, I know it was very, very chopped up. I'm going to try to get him to recap what he was saying, inshallah ta'ala. I can hear it, most of it, and piece it together because I got this headset on. But he after he acknowledged to us that there is evidence in the Quran and the Sunnah that we will be judged accordingly because of our situation, because we don't have access. And I've seen Christopher Joseph make a comment. He said, we are disconnected from true scholarship in the Black community. This is 100% true. And because we are disconnected from traditional scholarship in the Black community, we get we have a regularity of crime. So I was just trying to give him I can hear you, Sheikh, for the most part. Okay, y'all look good now. Yeah, like it was blurry and then choppy. It was going in and out. You can get a good sense, then to go out, but it looks good. It looks good and you sound good now.
How was the sound now?
Yeah, I can hear you loud and clear.
Good.
But I was just recapping the people. If I'm not mistaken, it chopped up real bad at the beginning when you was answering the question. Correct me if I'm wrong or not, Sheikh. Did you allude to or say, I don't want to misquote you, but did you basically say we will be judged accordingly because we don't have the knowledge that we, quote unquote, could have because of our socioeconomic disposition?
He said, would you say that we would be judged accordingly by the knowledge because we don't have a certain knowledge, is what you said, Shay?
Yeah, because we don't. Because
Allah judges on the curve, right?
Yeah. Well, Allah judge us according, because we're born in an unfair situation, and we got so many crimes and stuff in our community that happen because of the situation. Slavery was forced on us, redlining was forced on us. Jim Crow was forced on us. We didn't have any. So people might steal, to eat. We commit crimes, we become criminals, quote unquote, out of survival. And what we're seeing now is people becoming Muslim, but we had these bad habits before, these lifestyles beforehand, and it kind of is carrying on. And me personally, from me looking at it and my observation of it, is because we live in the environments that we live in. So my original question was, is there any indication that we will be judged according to our situation, as opposed to being judged equal with the people who are, quote unquote, free in society?
According to our situation?
Yeah.
Difficult question. I've been asked this question before. The short answer is no. Allah puts an obligation upon every single believer to know a certain information, certain knowledge. You have to have knowledge of Allah. You have to know what is wajib to believe about Allah, what is not permissible to believe about Allah, what is permissible. The same for the Messenger of Allah. Allah says, wa'alam. La ilaha illahu, that He is Allah, He's one. We can't, Islam doesn't, on the day of judgment, you can't take ignorance. Right? Allah knows if the da'wah has reached you. Right? But right now, you can't, there's no indication anywhere where we're going to be judged on the curve. All right? You can't say, well, as an African American, we were an oppressed community. I fell into drinking alcohol. My father was an alcoholic. Therefore, Allah, excuse me. The obligation is while you're alive to stop drinking. You can't use that as an excuse. You can't blame another person for your action. Everybody will be judged according to his or her own deeds. Your hisab with the law is your own account. No one else's. You can't blame your mother, your father. You can't blame. Allah put you in the situation as a test. Everybody has their own test. Life is a test. Right? الذي خلق الموت الذي خلق الموت والحياة. Why? ليبلوكم أيكم أحسن عملا. Everybody is going to be judged for what they do, right? So, I mean, it's a valid question, right? But when it comes to deen, we have to. If you're after that question now, you know there's a problem. You have an obligation before you go to sleep to stop to whatever action that people are involved in, knowing that it's haram, to stop it. To stop it. If it's an addiction, work toward the progress of stopping. But you have to make the intention. And you can't wait until, like, and after the hot day, until you say, well, I'll wait until Allah guides me. I'll stop fornicating until Allah guides me. Right? Oh, I'll stop drinking until Allah guides. Allah guides me. You can't wait. The action is you take action when you have immediately you have the ability to take action. Right? The fact that we look at sins in the wrong way. Right? As human beings, we're created to make mistakes. We're created to sin. If Allah wanted us to be perfect, we would have made His angel. We would have been infallible. But to know that Allah is Al-Ghafur, to know that Allah is Al-Rahim, we're put in a situation as human beings where we're prone to make mistakes. We're prone to sin. Allah created the different nufus, one of them of which is the nafs that incline toward evil. It's part of our makeup as human beings. But the point is that when we sin and we make tawbah, we're elevated to a station higher than we were before we even committed the sin. Right? So Allah tells the angel to bow down to Adam. So sajidu, they all bowed down. Except for Iblis. Illa Iblis. He became arrogant because he knew that fire was a loftier element than clay, than dirt, than soil, than tarab. Right? And he knew that man is going to be prone to these mistakes, prone to these sins, prone to these types of behavior. And we know in the Quran, even the angels ask Allah, well, what are you going to create that won't cause mischief in the land? And Allah says, Inni ja'ilun fil ardi khalifa. Right? But the point for the human being is to understand that you're going to live a life of mistakes. You're going to make mistakes. You're going to commit sin. But you have to know Allah. That Allah is Al-Tawwab, Allah is Al-Ghafur, Allah is Al-Rahim. And Allah loves those who repent. Right? So you can't wait until, well, I pray Allah will judge me on the third, and I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing in hopes that I'm going to be judged as an African American who's been stigmatized or oppressed in America. You can't do that. That's the wrong type of thinking. The valid question, I understand the question, but if someone asks this question, then you asking it because you know you're involved in something you shouldn't be involved in. Otherwise, there will be no need for the question. Right? And this is what we do as a community. We know we have certain characteristics in general, not specific, not every individual, but we have certain characteristics because we've been socialized a certain way. We've been socialized, the fact is the fact. Historically, we've been socialized to be a certain way. And there's always exceptions to the rule. And it does not apply to every individual. But our community has issues, as we can see, other communities don't have. And Islam is about salvation. Islam is about seeking Allah and the face of Allah only. Loving the messenger of Allah. Sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Right? And by that, we gain salvation. But if you say La ilaha illallah, if you say Muhammad Rasulullah, you're responsible for a certain type of behavior. Right? So our community has to come to grips with, yes, we have problems, but Allah places into situation. Because nothing goes on in society that Allah doesn't want to go on, right? Because He's the one who's in control. But it's a test. And if we approach our situation, our history, as an opportunity to improve, to get close to Allah, then we can look at our issues differently. There's been questions about why would Allah put on our community what He hasn't put on any other community? You look at African history, it's marked with slavery and corruption and abuse, discrimination, on and on, racism, on and on. We go through this, we live our lives in the life. We live the racism. We live the oppression. We see it every day. But Allah put us in a situation. You can't complain about your life as it is. Allah put us here for a certain reason. And what we may see as a curse or punishment, it may be a blessing in disguise. And I'm not saying that our problems are blessings. But for us as individuals, if we're asking a question like this, we have to take it upon ourselves to take action and solve the problem. That's what Allah wants us to do. And if we do that, we're elevated beyond what we could possibly imagine. Right? We can't look at those communities of people who have it good and quote on live in luxury and they don't have, and we look at them as though they're favored by Allah. That's not the way it works. A rich man doesn't mean that Allah, he's in Allah's favor because he's rich, wealthy, and powerful. But Allah was rich, wealthy, and powerful. That he was not favored by Allah by any means. Right? So what we learn, my point is what we learn growing up here in the West is the antithesis of what Islam teaches us. When we learn our Aqidah, we learn how to think. Right? For example, the situation that happened last week in Texas, where the gunman goes into the elementary school and she kills 20 elementary students, girls and boys, second, third, fourth grade. The first thing that dawned on me was those now are children of paradise. They're children of paradise. Yes, it was tragic. Yes, it shouldn't have happened, or it was a tragic experience. But it wouldn't have happened if Allah didn't want it to happen. And out of Allah's wisdom, we may never understand. It happened. He allowed it to happen. But those children are children of paradise. So you can look at it as half empty, or you can look at it as half full. But our situation is the same thing. It's half empty or half full. You have an opportunity to rectify the situation, our situation, and be elevated beyond what we could possibly imagine as a grassroots community.
Alhamdulillah. Jazakumullah khair. Okay, y'all. So I was wrong about what I thought Shaykh Mujaahid was saying, and he definitely cleared it up. That makes a lot of sense, Shaykh. That makes a lot of sense. That was one of my questions that I've had for a long time. So yes, it makes a lot of sense. Makes a lot of sense. Alhamdulillah. Somebody asked, I can't see who it is. It says, what is permissible? What is not permissible to believe about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and his messenger?
Your question?
Did you hear me?
What's the question?
What is not permissible in regards to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and his messenger?
What is not permissible to believe in regards to Allah ta'ala and the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam?
Nah. When it comes to what we have to know is permissible for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is that Allah is the king of his kingdom. Allah can do what Allah chooses to do. Nothing is wajib on Allah. Allah does not have to be rewarded for a good deed. Allah does not have to punish you for a bad deed. Allah does not have to, if you're sick, Allah does not have to send you a cure, a healing. If you're poor, Allah doesn't have to give you wrong. Allah, whatever is in the realm of possibility, is permissible for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So when we look at, so when it comes to mind and understanding this, you understand what is wajib to believe in the haqq of Allah. What is not permissible, right? You have to believe Allah is al-alim, Allah is ilm. If you believe Allah is ignorant about any one thing, it's kufr, it's disbelief. If you say, oh, Allah, if he sends a message, like the Mu'tazila, if Allah if he created man, he has to send man a guide. It's wajib on Allah to send man a prophet to guide him. It's not wajib on Allah. And so we know the prophet was a rahmah from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, a rahmah to the alameen. Right? What's not permissible for the prophets? Well, you learn these things in studying Aqidah. You know, it's
Yeah.
all in the books.
Yes,
you know,
yes.
The book, you learned it. But as far as the prophets, you can't, it was impossible to believe. You can't believe they lied. You can't believe that they were hypocrites. You can't believe that they hid the truth or they didn't deliver the truth in any way. They were set out to deceive the people. Right? We understand about prophets that they were human beings. Right? But we understand that they were special human beings as well. Right? So when you study the books of Aqidah, you learn all of these issues. What is wajib, what is mustahil, what is impossible, what is haram, what is permissible. Right? So on both Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as well as the messengers. Alayhi salam. Right? And this is one thing I just want to say, for the questions are good, right? But if you put forth the effort of study, I can guarantee anyone, your questions will be answered. You're going to get more benefit from, see, right now we're in the mode of questions, answers, and all of these. This is the thing of the day. And people get knowledge by going to Jummah on Friday, listening to a podcast, listening to a lecture. That's the source of knowledge that people get. And that we, in our community, we're talking about our community, in our community specifically, right? We have to break that narrative. Our knowledge has to come from studying the books. You're not going to learn by just asking questions, random questions here and there, because the chapters are connected, right? The chapters are connected. For example, you get married. When you get married, you get divorced. If you get divorced, you have to know about the chapter of menstruation before you get divorced. For a man has to know this, right? Because they're connected, right? We don't get into how they're connected, but they're connected. You can't ask questions about salah if you don't know the answers on tahara. You learn tahara before you learn salah, because without tahara there is no salah. You understand? So before asking the questions are good. When you're in the mode of studying, right? The questions are, when you're in the mode of studying. I give an example. When I actually sit with my teacher, I would do this. I would ask questions. I would stop him and ask questions. And he would stop me and say, just wait. The Shaykh is going to answer the question in the next few lines. And sure enough, my answer was on the next few lines, or it was on the next page. Hell, he would say, wait, that's in the next chapter. The answer to my question is coming if I keep studying. You can't study a fourth of the book, half the book, 3/4 of the book, and then put the book down. You complete the book, and the answers you have will be answered. Now you know what to ask. Now you're enlightened. Now your question can be more beneficial to you and those who are listening. Right? So while all of this, with the Facebook, all these platforms are great, sometimes it takes a place of studying. It's like translations. If you have all translations on your bookshelf in English, You're never gonna, if everything is translated into English, you're never gonna learn Arabic. Why learn Arabic? Everything is in English. So you'll never make the effort to learn Arabic because you have the book in English. But the English, trust me, the English is not just service to the original text. You understand what I mean? So these questions are all in the first chapter of any Aqidah book. What is permissible about to leave about Allah? What is not permissible to leave about the prophets? It's in the first chapter of every Aqidah book. And the answers are there. So my advice is to study, get into a program like Trader Institute, learn the books, then ask the questions. Right? You'll find, I guarantee, you're going to start asking different questions as you learn. But the questions you have now will be answered.
Good question. Good answer. I hope that was clear for the questioner. And that is very, very true. The very first things we reading on live stream, Sheikh Ibrahim. I haven't got to that part yet, so I don't know. I can't see who that was. A question. It just says Facebook user.
Yeah,
but, yeah, we haven't got to that part of the book yet.
I got another good question here by brother Ahmed Sanuti.
Oh yeah, you got him. Okay.
Yeah, I got him. You can put it up there. Yeah. Oh, there it is right there. It says, "Is the crisis for Muslims in America about Aqidah, or is it more to do with fiqh, or is it both?"
Good question.
Yeah, that's a good question.
I would say both. You know, I mean, first and more emphasis on Aqidah. Because Aqidah teaches you not just how to believe, but how to think. Right? When you understand how Allah works, how Allah operates, how Allah has operated throughout the span of time, right? Even we're taught how Allah is going to operate in the end of times. So the Muslim, we have all the information. When you say the Aqidah, you sit back with, you can relax. The burden of responsibility is lifted from you because you know what's happened, you know what's happening, and you know what's going to happen. And you can act accordingly. So a lot of the mental health, a lot of the mental issues, you can put them in the proper context, right? The questions about whether Allah has abandoned us or whether we're going to be judged on the curve, these questions you don't ask because you understand that whatever Allah has done for us is done for our good, for our benefit. Out of His wisdom, you may not understand it, but you know that that's true, because Allah does not do anything that is going to be a harm for us. You understand? And so you have to have a good opinion of Allah, and you understand that Allah will put you in a trial and tribulation not to cause you harm, right? But to bring out the best in you, so you turn around and turn back to Him and Tawbah, and you elevate, right? So Aqidah, you don't get confused with what the Western society is spewing out right now in society and how to behave. They're making ugly beautiful. They're making the good the bad. They're changing definitions on genders, things like, you don't get caught up in that. Because you're firmly rooted in the belief system of the Muslim. The fiqh aspect of it, you know how to behave. You know what to do. You know what's halal. You know what's haram. You know what's mandub, what's mubah, what's makruh, right? You know how to go about living your life on a daily basis in the Catholic society, where you're surrounded by vices and things that you can't look at, things you can't listen to, things you can't touch. You know how to go about it. So the answer, I would say, the crisis, yes, it's a crisis, but you have to learn Aqidah and you have to learn fiqh. And this is why it's a 1-2 punch. And in the book, the Aqidah is. You know, it's Aqidah first, fiqh second. Okay. When you say La ilaha illallah, or you say Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, All your Aqidah, you learn it. Boom. This is the proof. Right? Because Iman is the tongue. Iman is in the heart. But its utterances on the tongue and actions on the limbs. So what you say and what you do is the proof of what's in the heart. So you're learning what to believe, how to believe, and how to act according to that belief. Despite all the stuff going on around us, all the noise and fitna going on around us, you still have to do what Allah says do. And that's why it's wajib for us as a community to come together and establish for our young people a situation where they can live Islam. They can be comfortable. You know, there's no identity issues. They're not worried about being stigmatized as a community as Muslims. They can live the deen. They can have good halal fun, entertainment, right? It's not just a bunch of restrictive rules, right? And because we live in a secular society, this secular society is separation of church and state. Religion is for the home, inside, not to be out in the public square. We can't think like that as Muslims. We have to be involved in politics, economics, society. You can't go into a room and practice all day, pray all day. That's not what Allah wants for you. You have to go out into the society, right? Establish Islam where you are. And the crisis will be solved over a period of time according to how Allah sees fit.
Bismillah. Atlanta.
Oh, we're gonna plug it for sure. We definitely okay. So at this point, and we got the brother Daquan Walls. I found you. That's who those last couple questions before Ahmad Sayuti. He got another question too. He got Daquan he going to work. But at this point, I wanna highlight what's going on here. If y'all can't already see it. He reminds me of Sheikh Ayub all the time. My first he education. And Wallahi ta'ala, I became a better person. Inshallah, I'm a good Muslim, but I started to, all the problems of my life stopped when I was in prison at the lowest point of my life, with no hope whatsoever. And like the Sheikh said about the situation, I asked the question about being in a bad situation, being in a bad disposition. It put a light bulb off in my head. I actually became a normal human being. I stopped being a criminal. I stopped being a vile person, a mean person, I stopped being a bad person when I was at my lowest point with nothing and nobody. And it was Sheikh Ayub who was just teaching. We was learning Quran, we was reciting Quran, we was learning fiqh. Just like the Sheikh said, if you are learning, you will have the answers to all this stuff. You won't even have time to fall into you won't have time to fall into this stuff. So I want y'all to peep what's going on here. This ain't the YouTube star type stuff. This ain't the style. This is straight traditional style. Well, this isn't, but what we're doing, what we're presenting is traditional style knowledge. And like the Sheikh says, and we talk about this all the time in the group, Jomo, we gotta, sooner or later, the rubber has to meet the road. Like Sheikh said, like these videos and stuff, this is precursors. This is us telling y'all, hey, y'all, we got work to do. The actual work is being in the presence of knowledge and studying knowledge, which leads us to the next question from Daquan Walls. He said he asked a very good and relevant question. And I know a lot of people have this question. This is a very, very, very relevant question to everything. He asks, how can you, let me not misquote, how do you know who you can learn from and what books you can read? This is imperative right here.
How do you know who you can learn from and what books you can read?
Enroll in Faith Institute.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's a good question. You know, I mean, at some point you have to trust. You know, you have to. Okay, I'll tell you this. How do you know who you can learn from? And a good teacher is going to give you a methodology. He's going to give you a program. They're not just random books pulled out of, off the shelf. It's a program that's going to take you from step A to step B to step C to step D. All right? And so a good teacher, because he has studied himself or herself, they know what it is that you need. Right? They're going to teach you your father aim first. A good teacher will always begin with, I was in Mauritania, for example, and a student came to Shaykh Mujaahid. He wanted to study the Ajnamiyya, which is the first book he studied in Arabic grammar. The brother knew some Arabic, but he had never studied formally Arabic grammar. And the Shaykh asked him, do you have to study the Akhtar, which is the first book in Maliki fiqh, which teaches you Tahara and Salah. The Shaykh said, no, you study Akhtar first. Then we can do Arabic grammar. But right now, if you die today, before you go to sleep tonight, you have to know how to make wudu properly. You have to know how to pray properly. Therefore, this book is more important than that book. Right? So a good teacher is going to give you that wisdom and show you, look, this is the first book you study, then you study this book. All right? An issue we have now today, people are enamored by people mentioning these big titles of books and these big books that are famous. Or, yeah, I'm reading this book, I'm going to this book, Hadith and Fatah Bari and all these big books that are for scholars. They haven't studied the basic nutrition of the student, because we want to go from step A to step Z, and that's not the way it happens. That's not the way it works. You have to, like the Shaykh used to always teach me, drop by drop, the valley fills up. And he said, Mujaahid, be like the moon. The moon always starts out here. It never starts out with the full moon. You stay on for Shaykhah. You check this time, step by step. You get there. The benefit is in the struggle. You're going to get there. But it's not going to be overnight. The Quran wasn't revealed at one time. It was 23 years. Right? So you judge a person of what he presents to you. And you know this is a good program. This person has my best interest at heart. He's showing you what to study first, what to study second, so on and so forth. Right? What books can you read? Any books from the tradition. Right? You have the methodology, whether it's, if you study Ashri Aqidah, you have books. You read Maturidi Aqidah, you have books. Shafi Fiqh, so on and so forth. You have the book, and you pick one methodology and you learn it. When you get to an advanced level, inshallah, you can dibble down with other books. But you have to learn first your father aim from that methodology. You learn Tahara according to the Maliki school, learn Salah according to the Maliki school. If you learn Tahara according to the Shafi school, learn Salah according to the Shafi school. It's all in one book. It's just the next chapter. Right? But don't have big ears and say, oh, this group or that, this method, you study, you have to have a methodology. Get a madhab, both in Aqidah and what is Fiqh, and study the books in those schools, and you'll be fine. With a good teacher, you'll be fine. And have good intention, Allah will bless you.
Very, very true. Okay, we got some questions coming in. Shaykh, a funny story. You remind me of a funny story. I was invited to a conversation with one of our friends that follows the Saudi Arabian school, and we was going on and on, back and forth about Aqidah, of course. And I kept telling him, my Malik. He said, I don't want to hear Imam Malik. I was like, well. Then I start going on talking about you. Do you know who Imam Malik is? And he was like, hold on. Let me not get you to think that I'm against Imam Malik. I'm Maliki myself. I was like, oh, well, this conversation is over. He was like, well, why you say that? I was like, okay, you Maliki? I was like, what's the first? I said, what are the two types of water if you are Maliki? Now imagine, we like an hour into this discussion. I was like, what are the two types of water? And he was like, the 2 types of water. I said, you Maliki. And we talking about, is Allah up here, over there? Does he have a hand? Does he not have a hand? But he could not tell me what the 2 types were. I said, this is the second thing, but the very first thing that you are introduced to when you begin your knowledge. And I asked him about the book. Well, what was the first book he read? He was like, book. He was like, brother, I learned from the Muwatta. I was like, you don't know the 2 types of water? You reading the Muwatta? So y'all heard the Sheikh say it, so y'all can't say I'm mean. But people were calling me mean to that brother. Y'all heard the Sheikh say it. Y'all heard the Sheikh say it. So okay, so we got a Sister Khalid. Let me put your question after Sister Bahira. Sister Bahira, she's a young sister. These are friends of my wife. They always have a lot of questions. And she's a young sister, and she's learning, alhamdulillah. So Khalid, you got some knowledge, so we're gonna do your question. But I want to put Sister Bahira's question first, inshallah ta'ala. She said, as a new shahada, how do you expose and guide your young children to Islam when you yourself are still learning?
Good question.
Good question.
As a new shahada, as a parent, your obligation is to teach. Whatever you learn, if you're still learning, you teach your family. Whatever it is, right? You start or you begin where Allah puts you. Every situation is different, but this is why we want to do Faith Institute. Our program is available for all ages, right? Alhamdulillah, today we have the internet, we have these programs online. You can start there. But whatever you're learning, you teach your children. No matter, nothing too small, nothing, right? But for a program like ours, you can enroll your children in our program, and and you can learn at the same time. Make it a family affair. The husband, the wife, the father, the mother, the children, you can all learn at the same time. Right? This is the whole point: is having the exposure, putting the books out there so people have the opportunity to study them.
If you don't mind, I just want to take the opportunity to say that Shaykh Mujaahid, his intention is to set up a Mahdara style curriculum here in the United States, specifically Atlanta. So, and what you're seeing now is the beginning of that project. And this is why we have him here and we're introducing him. I mean, he's already been online teaching for some years now, but we're bringing him to our community and our followers. And so I want everybody to pay special attention that here in Atlanta, our intention is to have Atlanta be the hub for Ahlul Sunnati wal Jama'ah. I just want to make that clear. And in terms of learning Aqidah, we want it to be a place where people could come, specifically African American community, because we haven't been exposed to it on a whole and in a public way. We want it to be a place where people could come and learn Aqidah, fiqh, and tazkiyah. Flat out. That's what our intention is. Bismillah.
We're gonna go a little bit more deeper into that, inshallah. What you said, Ustaz Jomo, before we leave, inshallah ta'ala. Everybody here, y'all know that's what I'm all about. Okay, Sister Khalid. She said, Sheikh, when a new shahada begins their studies, is it important to at least be introduced to the fact that there are 4 schools, not necessarily going into each, but just introducing them by name as they are learning I guess she meant to say basic fundamentals. She said fundamentals, but I'm pretty sure she meant basic fundamentals.
Right. Good question. It's important in the sense that you understand that the different opinions and different ways of doing things. That there's no one method in Islam to do it. That you have differences of opinions. That you can't. Well, the mistake is trying to learn these different opinions at the same time. Right? People, we're not the same. People come from different places, different experiences. Allah has given us an intellect and we can think. But by nature, we're going to have differences of opinion. Right? You're going to see things have empty, some will see it as have full. Right? And so, yeah, it's important to understand that at the time, that there are four schools. But it's more important to see the beauty in all the four schools. To see the beauty in the khilaf, the differences of opinion. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala didn't make it one way for everybody, because everybody's different. And some things aren't suitable for everything in every situation. Right? But at the same time, understand there's differences of opinion and different schools, but learn one school. Don't try to learn all four schools at the same time. Learn one school first. Master one school first. Live it. And you get to the point, inshallah, you become a scholar. And you can go into other schools if you so choose. But as you study and you get more in advanced texts, you learn different opinions of other schools. Right? You learn different opinions of other schools for the purpose of understanding proofs, understanding evidences and clarifications, right? You learn these things along the way. But the schools are designed for the student from the beginning to the most advanced level. Right? It's the same way you have a baby. You don't give a baby an infant a piece of meat. You don't give them a chicken wing. Right? You give them baby food. Right? Because if you get that chicken wing, you're not going to be able to eat it. You'll choke. You cause harm. You give him what's appropriate for his age, for his time. And then as he grows, you adjust. You give him different types of food until he can eat like as an adult. Learning is the same way. You don't just throw big books. You don't throw the Ihya al-Ulumuddin and say, here, study this. You don't throw Sahih Bukhari and say, here, study this. You study the mutun, the text, and you graduate to those levels where you can digest those more advanced books.
This next one is a big one. One of my favorite questions. It's hard for me to laugh every time I'm asked the question. It's hard to give an answer because I'm always laughing when they ask this or when they say it. So Nyla from Facebook said, Sheikh, how do you respond to someone who says, I follow all four schools at the same time?
Oh, that's impossible.
See, I'm not crazy, internet. The internet has been calling me crazy for 2 years, saying that I can't, because I'm telling everybody, it's impossible to follow all four schools.
It's not. This person hasn't studied. People who say this, they just haven't simply, they haven't studied. There's no point in them. Right? Because I know this is a slogan that's out there. But it's just not possible. It's not possible. You can make wudu according to four different opinions, four different methods. You can't do them all at one time. You right? You can't do them all at once. It's something that's not logical.
They all got four different opinions on certain matters. So like with wudu, I tell people all the time, there's so many different opinions within the schools about wudu. If you try to do them all, you'll never complete your wudu.
Right.
You listen to Abu Hanifa say, you listen to Imam Malik say, it's four different things. So how would you ever complete your wudu? You would never do it.
Yeah.
So it makes no sense. Okay, so Sheikh's answer was it was impossible. Sheikh, Khalil Abdullahi is on here. He's our good brother, our good friend. He says, Salaam alaikum, Sheikh.
Alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Ahmad Suyuti, he has another question. He says, so is it safe to say that if someone is incapable of taking, I guess he meant to say knowledge through a book. He said taking you through a book, but taking knowledge through a book of fiqh, that a person cannot be considered knowledgeable enough to take from?
Not necessarily. I mean, he probably not be the best source to learn fiqh from. I mean, in terms of, he may know some issues, right? He may know some issues, and if he's honest and sincere, he knows the issue. He can impart that knowledge to you, and you can benefit from that. But as far as thinking, if he's incapable of teaching you an entire book of fiqh, then you go to someone who is capable of teaching the entire book of fiqh. But that doesn't mean you can't benefit from someone who knows the issue of Tahara well. Perhaps his brother or his sister had only studied the Akhdari, which is just Tahara and Salah. And so they know the Ahkam of Tahara and they know the Ahkam of Salah well. And you can take knowledge from that person. That person can, continue things. Right? But if they haven't studied the Bible, the Quran, or lying and studying, or what have you, then of course they couldn't teach it. You can't teach what you don't know. But you take knowledge when it's beneficial, and when it's not beneficial, you leave it alone.
Okay. Hey, Levon Turner, Assalamu alaikum, Aki. Said they checking in from Kansas.
Alhamdulillah.
Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah checking in from Kansas. Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah.
Where's Kansas again? Who they, Levon Turner? Who they? I get him every time I get, every chance I get. Okay, another question. This is another common one. She's asking, Sheikh, can you clear up why Malikis pray Sadr? And is it because Imam Malik's arms were broken? Right.
Yeah. Again, this is the fiqh question that you find in the books of fiqh. But to sum it up, it's real simple. Yes, Imam Malik's arms were broken, but that's not why Malikis pray Sadr. It's the Amal of Medina. This is the way that the people of Medina prayed. First of all, folding the hands is a sunnah, as well as praying Sadr is a sunnah. Right? There's no controversy about praying with your hands to the side and praying or folding the hands in Islam. There's no controversy in Islam about it. Right? There's opinions and proofs and evidences for both cases. You understand? The Malikis have a certain rule that the actions of the people, Imam Malik's methodology and the style of the Maliki school took the amal, the action, over the hadith. The strongest hadith you have with the issue of praying with hands folded is in, I believe it's Sahih Bukhari, where the hadith begins, and we were commanded to pray right hand over the left on our chest. But the ambiguity of who said, who commanded who to pray this way is ambiguous. It wasn't stated in the hadith. So it's not clear. You understand? Allah said, Aqimu Salah, Qiyam is standing. That doesn't have to be standing with the arms folded. Qiyam is Qiyam. The natural position for the hands is to pray at the side. The Malikis, furthermore, the Malikis weren't the only school that prayed this way. This was a common practice in Medina at the time of Imam Malik. But there is no controversy in Islam about it. It's a sunnah. It's a sunnah that you can leave it or you can take it. There's no sin if you leave it. Okay? If you leave it, then whatever, either way you go, there's no sin on you. Right? So But you do the teachings in the books of faith.
Alhamdulillah. Another question. This is a kind of a small, quick question from Sister Rabia. It's another one of our friends from the page. She asked, Sheikh, what takes a person out of the fold of Islam?
What actions actually take a person outside the fold of Islam?
Well, apostasy, many things. But it's not actions that take you out of Islam. Imam Shafi'i, rahimahullah, said that you enter Islam with the tongue and you exit Islam with the tongue. Islam doesn't take people out of Islam for what they do. A person commits a sin, is still a Muslim. A person fornicates, drinks alcohol, eats pork, they're still a Muslim. Right? You can't make takfir of people because of what they do. But when a person states they no longer believe in Islam, or they no longer believe this and that takes them out of Islam. Right? So I'll give you an example. The hadith where the Prophet said, a Muslim and Kafir Salah. The difference between the Kafir and the Muslim is Salah. So if a person doesn't pray, is he a Muslim? Initially he said no, but Imam Shafi'i corrected him and said, again, you enter Islam with the tongue, you exit Islam with the tongue. If a person doesn't pray, he's still a Muslim. If he's a Muslim fasting, he may be he's a Muslim, but he's still Muslim. He's still a Muslim. All right, so there aren't actions that really take us out of Islam. All right, and there's a difference between we say actions and what we say with our intentions. They're two different things.
Again, that's just to add on to what the Sheikh said. That goes back to having a curriculum where people study the section called apostasy, which is a Fardul Ain subject. Not that we should learn about the issues of apostasy to go around calling people kuffar or kafir or whatever. It's more important to protect yourselves and your family from falling into those sayings or deeds or beliefs of the heart that may take you outside the fold of Islam. So again, it's about education, it's having a curriculum, having a methodology, a traditional methodology that teaches people these things. And unfortunately, our people have been left aside in that regard for the most part.
That's the importance of tonight, what we are doing tonight. We are bringing straight and live to you the traditional knowledge, the traditional approach with a traditional alim. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. This is a big day for us. This is a big day. Shaq, you tired or you got a couple more in you?
Yeah, we need to there's a beautiful brother, alhamdulillah, that's hosting us tonight. And we haven't offered Salat Isha as yet. It's 11:10. Inshallah ta'ala, we can schedule for another podcast again, maybe a couple days from now or something, inshallah. And again, we'll have them again next weekend when everybody comes down, inshallah. So this is just the beginning of a beautiful future, inshallah ta'ala. So yeah, that's what we got going on tonight.
For those that are interested, you can go to our website at faithinstitute.org. The curriculum is there, and you'll see the elementary classes. All classes in the elementary curriculum are available. They've all been taught and pre-recorded. You can take any of these classes you want, right? Learning Arabic language, Aqidah, fiqh, tasawwuf, mantiq, hadith, science, they're all there, right? And so you register. This class is $50 a month. And the classes are uploaded on Google Classroom at least 3 times a week. And right now we have over 60 students that are currently taking classes. And the classes, the enrollment is ongoing. So you can start and go and study at your own pace. All right? So with all these questions, beautiful questions that there are, I call everybody to come and join for the Institute. And these questions you have, you can study the text that have the answers to these questions. And any questions you have, you can WhatsApp us on the website and email us. And the email address is on the website as well.
Once again, everybody show support. This is what this is all about. Y'all might not like me for saying this, but I gotta say it. We support everything and everybody else.
Yeah.
Let's support our own. That's the big thing about tonight. This is a scholar that's from the neighborhood, y'all. He out the community, y'all. This is huge. We don't see enough of our faces on the internet. That's what this effort is. This is Fisabilillah. So the link for the Shaykh and his classes at the Fader Institute, I'm going to get in it, inshallah ta'ala. This is I put it on the screen. You can find it there. What do they say? What do they say, Jumbo? Tap in.
Tap in.
I learned me a couple words. Tap in. I can't stress how big this is, y'all. Take advantage of this opportunity. Take advantage of the Shaykh being close to us. He's in the A right now. He's and inshallah ta'ala, we're going to be coming together. I'm going to do everything that I can, especially with this platform, with everybody that supports this platform, so that we can get the Shaykh going. This is how it happens. If everybody's talking about the struggle and everybody's talking about change, we had some good questions on here and it was some good content. The Shaykh stressed education is the key to changing ourselves, number one, and changing our communities from the inside out. That is the key. The number one step is supporting brothers like this. And we're showing you we're taking the initiative, and don't be afraid. And please let me say this, y'all don't laugh at me. Black people, y'all are so funny with y'all money. This is what it takes. We go to the masajid and you see somebody who's giving a khutbah who don't look like you, who's not speaking on issues that are relevant to your community. This is a problem. You know why it's a problem? It's because we do not have our own scholars. Why we don't have our own scholars? Because we don't support them. Right. We do not support them. I was heavily involved with our masjid here, and it's not, it's not headed by an African American, and there are not a lot of African Americans involved in the leadership. I saw with my own eyes people who are not from our community, not from the neighborhood. They pay the bills. I seen a guy pay the gas and electric to one of our masajid here for the whole year. For the whole year. Fisabilillah. This is what it takes. This is what we have to do. If we want change for real, if we want our kids to stop dying in the streets, we want our kids to stop going to prison, we want our kids to stop getting shot by the police, we want our kids to stop doing this, this is the effort right here. This is it right here. We have somebody who came for us. Now he came and did something for us. Now we got to do something for him. Now we have to do something for him. We have to support him. And we are, like Ustaz Jomo said, we all going to be in Atlanta, the 18th. We all, inshallah ta'ala, going to be in Atlanta next week. And we're going to be sitting down, putting some heavy stuff together. And inshallah ta'ala, we're going to build our own educational institution. And we will have Shaykh Mujaahid, inshallah ta'ala, to be there, to represent it, to teach in it, to head it, to lead it. And that will be the beginning. That right there will be the beginning. But it's going to take an effort. It's going to take an effort. It takes your money. I'm going to be all the way real. Like everybody say, you want to keep it a buck. Y'all pay. What was we joking about? Stuff Jumbo the other day on the phone. Your Netflix come out every single day. You don't even know that your Netflix bill come out. Your Netflix get paid every single time. That money can be barakah.
MashaAllah. Tabarakallah. Appreciate it, brother.
So
Thank you for your
inshallah,
words.
support y'all.
Allah bless you.
I mean.
Alhamdulillah.
This is big, man. This is big. I can't stress it. So I'm gonna let y'all go for the night. For tonight.
Inshallah.
Told you I got a lot of questions. We got some work
Yeah.
to do. So I'm thinking
We could do another one, inshallah ta'ala.
yeah, inshallah.
Yeah,
We're
no
gonna make
problem.
it work. We're gonna make it happen. Sheikh,
No,
thank you so much for blessing the platform, for blessing my page, blessing our timelines, giving your time. That's huge, man. I mean, not a lot of the people that been where you've been and have accomplished what you accomplished. They don't, we little guys, you know what I mean? We the little guys. So it feels good to, to validate some of the things that we represent. So I definitely appreciate it from the heart, Sheikh. And inshallah,
I just want to mention again, special shout out to the brother Saifuddin for hosting us tonight. May Allah Ta'ala bless him and his family for allowing us to have this majlis here. Some of the early ulama, they would say that having a majlis of ilm is more beloved to them than praying 1,000 rakats of nafil salat at night. And this is what this is, whether we realize it or not. This is a majlis of ilm, and may Allah Ta'ala bless him and his family with the reward of 1,000 rakats of nafil salat. I mean, and may Allah Ta'ala bless everybody who came out tonight and supported us and listened to the Shaykh and listened to our effort about what we want to do here in Atlanta. May Allah Ta'ala bless you and your families. Allahumma ameen.
Amen. Anybody y'all want to close us out with a dua or maybe a short surah or something?
اللهم صل وسلم على سيدنا محمد وعلى اله وصحبه كثيرا. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد كاتب ما أغلق وخاتم ما سبق ناصر الحق بالحق والهادي الى صراطك المستقيم وعلى اله حق قدره ومقداره العظيم. سبحان ربك رب العزه عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين. السلام عليكم ورحمه الله.
I'll talk to y'all in the morning, inshallah.
Inshallah. Barakallah fiqh, Habib.
Okay, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. All right, it's a wrap, y'all. Remember, like, share, support. Support your own. Like, share, support. Share it. Send like, share, and a support. Can't say that enough, man. Support. We gone. We love y'all for the sake of Allah. Assalamu alaikum, Christopher. Hamad Saluti. Thank you for the support, Habibi. I told you, we putting some things down, y'all. We working. It's in due time. So y'all make dua that we remain sincere. Y'all make dua that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives us the tawfiq to accomplish the things that we have made good intentions about. I love y'all for the sake of Allah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.